Hey Todd, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for saying something. I didn't know if I was on or not. My sidekick is not here. Hello, Jackie. Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Saturday to everybody. Happy Saturday. My girls were gone overnight, so me and Renzo were partying like bachelors. Mama, when she walks in, she's not going to be happy when she sees the house. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Lee. And Eric, how you doing, buddy? Eric, I love seeing pictures of your dogs, man. I'm a bull mastiff guy, and I'm so tempted. So tempted. Hello, Jerry. Like, very tempted. I really am. Love the breed very much. You got some nice dogs. Let's see. 2 minutes on. So I didn't plan on doing this. But I just did a lesson a little while ago with Max, the young German Shepherds here, and I was like, man, I got to talk about this more because I think so many people are missing out. I really do, and I'll get what I'm talking about here for a minute. That's a good Saturday, Todd, goofing off in the backyard. Hey, Doc. Karen, Steven, how are you, my friend? Hello, Ryan. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hello, Amanda. Kim, Diane. All right, so, hey, Kim, how are you? Teresa, how are you? Hello, JJ. Martin, Sweden. God, I'd love to see Sweden, Martin. I really would. I'd love to make it there. Hey, JD, hope you're doing well, buddy. Give my big fella a big hug for me there, you know. All right, so let's talk here. I'll try to keep this one really brief. There's no scotch involved, so it should be easy to keep brief. Where do I start? I really want to talk about the power of negative reinforcement, and I think how we're not utilizing it enough. Okay, let alone the power of negative reinforcement when paired with positive reinforcement. Okay, I don't even know where I want to go with this. Okay, anybody that knows me, I am not a sciencey guy. You know, I have no interest in talking about quadrants. I don't do it. I don't like definitions in dog training, and for the most part, it's because the average person don't care. I have never once discussed quadrants with a client. They don't care. I don't find it beneficial. I know a lot of trainers will disagree with that, and that's okay. It's totally cool to disagree, guys. But I'm about simplicity, okay? I just find that it makes things more cloudy for people. So I like to speak in very simple terms. In the dog training world, I think there's still a lot of dog trainers out there that aren't utilizing the benefits of negative reinforcement, okay? The purely positive community. I teach just about everything, positions, commands, with positive reinforcement. I use a lot of food. When I start off training a dog, I'm using food to teach all the new behaviors that I want the dog to learn. Okay, for the most part, just about every behavior. I don't teach things like leave it and loose leash walking with food. I don't use anything. But for the most part, all the things we teach, whether it's my own puppies or a client's dog, I use a lot of food in the beginning. As the dog starts to learn those behaviors very well, then I get away from the food. You know, it comes into play every now and then to, you know, keep the dog motivated for something here and there. But I don't think we're talking enough about what the benefits of negative reinforcement are, especially when paired with positive reinforcement, okay? This isn't a nay-po-po thing. Let me be very clear there, because I always want to be respectful to Bart and Michael. So I always talk about, their influence on me, which is tremendous, okay? Tremendous. But once Bart and Michael started running their school and people pay a lot of money to go get certified in the NAPOPO system, I never thought it was right for me to ever use those terms. I just don't use those terms, okay? So don't get the two confused. That's not what I'm talking about. There's a lot more to NAPOPO than just using negative and positive reinforcement, and you'd have to go to the school to understand, it in its full depth. So that has nothing to do with this. I always want to be respectful to those folks, okay? I really do. People pay a lot of money to use what they've learned there and that title, that term. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm always very, very thoughtful on that process. But let's talk about Max, all right? Max has been here a week. He got here Sunday, so tomorrow will be 1 week. Little over a year old, not a lot of confidence. So you guys have seen a little bit of him. You've seen the loose leash walking thing with the right leg swing. Today I posted a video I showed him when he got here on a long line, just watching his behaviors. And then I showed me starting to play with him today, utilizing a ball and working on the out a little bit. Just building that engagement and that relationship and trying to build him up. I use an e-collar on every dog that comes here. Some people criticize that. I don't understand why, because in my opinion, an e-collar benefits all dogs. But I think what a lot of people don't understand that criticize it, they still don't understand the capabilities of the tool, how we use it today. And a lot of ignorant people still think we're using it to smash a dog. Well, most know you'll never see a dog smashed here, okay? You'll never see a dog smashed here, never. You'll never see a dog down in the dumps or flattened because of any tool or any handling or any training, okay? It just doesn't happen. It's not my style, it's not what I do. I've talked about in the past year or two the benefits of dealing with dogs that lack confidence and have insecurities. I talked about how beneficial those initial confusing stages of the e-collar are for those kind of dogs to build them up. I've caught so much shit from that, I really have, because a lot of people think there should never be confusion in dog training. Well, I couldn't disagree more, okay? That's like saying there should never be stress in dog training. Not true. A dog has to go through some stress. Not the kind of stress that most people think of, in a really bad way. But that's how dogs learn to get better. That's how they learn to get stronger. That's how they learn how to get confident, Listen, I have a flex pole in my yard, in the ground, right? I bought that flex pole from Bart probably 10 years ago. I still use it. You'd be amazed how many dogs struggle just to be tied out on a flex pole or a tree or anything. You know what I mean? A dog has to be mentally tough. And those little exercises help a dog quite a bit. So when I put Max out on that flex pole, he panicked at first. He panics. He doesn't know how to handle it, and so that makes him fear it. I'm never going to do anything to a dog that allows that where they need to be fearful. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? There's nothing to fear. I'm right there. I'm not even leaving the dog outside. I just want to show him what it's like being clipped on a big, wide, flat collar to the flex pole where he can't go where he wants or get to me because he either wants to get away or get to me to be comforted. And that's not healthy for a dog. See, we create that inside the household. We do that, okay? Dogs aren't born like that, right? So I've done a little training with Max using food, and he struggles. I'll give you an example. The plastic crate top that you guys see me use for all dogs to play, scared to death of it, okay? Really scared to get on there, like really scared. So I utilize a leash and I help him get over those fears. And even once I get him over those fears, he goes on real fast and jumps off, scared to stop on top of it, And he's a long, lanky dog, early neutered shepherd, so he's very tall, very long. He got neutered at 5 months old, so those limbs are growing very long, okay? And, he has no reason to be scared to get up there. But I'm not pushing it at this point. He's here 1 week. So today we start the e-collar training, right? Very first time. Now for those that still don't understand why we use an e-collar on all dogs, it's not to fix problems, it's to advance their life in the future, okay? So we don't need the e-collar to teach that dog anything, just like all dogs. We're not teaching the recall. We're not teaching the down. We're not teaching the sit. We've already introduced that stuff and he understands it. With the other dog I just had here, after a couple of weeks, still no e-collar. Because he didn't need it to benefit his confidence. You understand what I'm saying? So with Max, he really lacks that confidence big time. And that's why you'll see him huddle up to me and drop his head and give me affection. He feels secure in close with me like that. All right? Does pretty good with the obedience. He likes to work. But as soon as there's something else around, you know, he could become a little wackadoodle. But that's normal, right? So today when I introduced the e-collar, like I do with all dogs, and you know what? I was going to film it, but I have filmed so many first lessons for this reason we're talking today. I said, you know what? People don't want to see this crap anymore. So I did it. And then when we were done, I said, well, shit, I wish I would have filmed that because I think it's so powerful for everybody to see. The purely positive people, the anti-e-collar people, the people still using e-collars to smash a dog. I think it's so powerful to see. So when I talk about negative reinforcement, okay, how powerful it is with positive reinforcement, today I gave Max a chance to better his situation and empower his own position, okay, his own standing, his own mindset, right? So he's on a long line, we're in my driveway. Now, when that first e-collar came on, that first time I touched that button, again, he has no idea what it means, nothing. And his reaction was look behind him, both sides, like, what is that, you know? So again, to the anti-e-collar people, whether you're on the balance side, because there's still plenty of you, or the purely positive side, we're talking at a level barely perceived. Right? Barely feels it. Not even sure if there's something there, doesn't know what it is. That's where we're working. That's where I'm teaching through this whole process. It's not about the obedience. I don't care about the obedience. We're not teaching the obedience. We're teaching him the language of that very strange foreign stimulation that he feels for the first time, which creates that confusion. And when we create that confusion in a dog like Max, now he stops worrying and being nervous about everything else. He doesn't know what it is, right? But he does know what the recall command is. Okay, he gets it. He does know what the marker word is. He gets it. He understands it very well. He knows that when I say yes, exaggerated, he's going to produce some food. I'm going to produce some food for him. He's going to get rewarded. He understands that fully. So let me make that clear. He totally understands that, right? So now on the long line, on very low level, the lowest level that he barely perceives, I hold the continuous button down using feather contact points so it makes good contact consistently. And when he feels it, he's away from me at the end of a 10-foot line. He feels it come on, there's the confusion, and I say, Max, come. And he turns to head my way, and literally the second he makes any movement to turn around, the button goes off, and I say yes. I mark that exact time. The button goes off, and I mark it with a yes at the same time. I want him to know that that initial stage of just turning to come to me removes that weird foreign sensation, not only removes the sensation, but produces something good, the reward, the food. Which, by the way, when he got here, he wouldn't take food from me, okay? He's taking food now. And through this whole process with him today, 10 minutes I spent doing that. He was a completely different dog. I did it utilizing the recall, come to me, and I did it using that big plastic crate top that he's scared of. I want to teach the opposite behaviors. I don't want him just to think that he has to run to me every time he feels that foreign sensation, okay? There's no dialing up when he doesn't get it. There's none of that. If I press the button and he hesitates, that's what the line is there for, the leash, just to guide and help him a little bit. That leash is your true translator in GPS, right? Tells the dog what you want, tells the dog where you want him, okay? So working on that recall did beautiful. Like, I couldn't ask for better, and it put a lot of pep in his step. It built him up. It made him fast right away, and he's no longer thinking like I'm uncomfortable with anything. Now he's acting like a German Shepherd. We're giving him something to do. We're giving him a ton of mental stimulation, okay? We're doing something for the dog. We're allowing him to feel better about himself. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when he sees it and I'm utilizing it to come to me, now we go near that big scary plastic crate top that he's not crazy about going on, and it's the same thing. Now that e-collar comes on, and I say max place, and he flies to it. Not to avoid pain, there is no pain. Not to avoid discomfort, there's no discomfort. There's nothing. We're sending a message, we're sending a level of communication and teaching the dog to see things in a new way and giving him an opportunity to better his situation, okay? So someone sent me a message today, couldn't understand why I don't use the e-collar at the same time as the command. That's just pressure. That's constant pressure, guys. And the dog never learns to function in society without the electronic command at that point. That's what they're always going to learn, the electronic stimulation. That's not what we want. Because in the long run, the goal is that the e-collar is there when you're out in public and your dog's off leash, just for that what-if moment. That the dog responds to the verbal command always. Just like my dogs, okay? Just like a ton of my clients' dogs. That's the end goal. Not that you have to utilize an e-collar to get your dog to do what it needs to do at all times. So we're still failing as an industry in getting across to the general public, the purely positive community, and the balanced trainers that are living 20, 30 years ago. Still living in the past, thinking that this tool is being forced to do things to a dog, and for the trainers that are still utilizing it that way. Negative reinforcement by itself is extremely powerful. It teaches the dog a lot, okay? It teaches the dog a lot. I never talk about that stuff. I did one video with the white Bouvier, Dexter, where I worked him for a while, and then I broke down everyone. What was the positive reinforcement? What was the negative reinforcement? What was the positive punishment? What was the negative punishment? That's the most sciencey you'd ever hear me, because I don't do that. I don't care about that stuff. I don't care because people don't care and dogs don't care. And there's going to be times where you utilize a leash, an e-collar, food, whatever, and there's going to be times where it's hard to put what category that falls in. It is. And then you'll hear balanced trainers arguing. That was positive punishment. No, that was negative reinforcement. And they go back and forth. Does it matter? It doesn't matter. As long as it's clear to the dog doesn't care what quadrant you're working in. The owner doesn't care what quadrant you're working in. But to be very, very direct, the power of negative reinforcement paired with positive reinforcement can save so many dogs. I mean, the difference, guys, I've been preaching this for so long and showing the e-collar stuff for so long because it's powerful. It's so powerful. There's a reason you don't see the anti-e-collar people showing the first lessons, the second lessons, fearful dogs that I'm dealing with. They're not going to show it because the dog can't lie. The dog doesn't lie, okay? And I think too many of us in the training world, even a lot of great trainers, phenomenal trainers that I respect, I think too many people have complicated things way too much for the training world and for the dog itself. And, you know, I had this conversation with people yesterday talking about doing workshops and told them I don't understand why you want me to come. I'm as simple and basic as it can be. I'm very, very simple. But here's the thing, guys, when you're dealing with dogs with any kind of behavioral issues, anything, you know, any kind of mindset problems, whether it's fear or aggression, you know, I don't think the fancy schmancy terms and science and methods and techniques, I don't find it helpful for most. And so when I hand these dogs back to an owner, I have to be able to speak to them in very simple human terms, what they can understand and continue with. I just do. And so I don't talk about negative reinforcement. I don't use that term with them. I break it down simple so they understand it, okay? So for Max, if I was talking to Max's owner and I explain what we're doing there, which by the way, he won't have to do that, okay? Not for the dog. I'll have him doing all that stuff for himself so he learns why Max does what he does. How did Max learn? He will do it to better his handling skills, okay? So when I tell an owner, okay, the reason why we're doing this is, let's just use the leash. Let's say your dog is at the end of a 10-foot line and he's leaning into it and staring at something, and you start putting light pressure, pulling him back. It starts to be annoying after a while to the dog, right? And the second he turns and gives into it, that tension goes away. It's negative reinforcement. And then you mark with a yes, boom, you reward that positive reinforcement, right? But the problem is, guys, when we use terms like this to the general public, negative reinforcement sounds bad. Anything with the term negative in it is going to sound bad. So a lot of people right away are going to think you're talking about some kind of punishment. And when you talk about punishment, people are going to think something physical, something harmful, something painful to the dog, you know? And we know that's rarely the case. Rarely the case. Most of my punishment comes verbally and with spatial pressure. A little leash pop here and there, a little body bump here and there, you know? I could almost guarantee that in the 3 or 4 weeks or 5 weeks, whatever I keep Max here, he's probably never going to see a correction with an e-collar because he won't have to. He won't have to because he's going to understand the language very, very well. And that allows him to respond on very low levels, okay? So we could whisper through the e-collar very softly. If the dog understands the language, what you're speaking, they'll respond. The problem is there's not people teaching the language, and then they have to scream. That's the high levels. There's no reason to have to scream at the dog. There's just no reason, guys. If you find yourself going high on the e-collar over and over and over again, you're doing something very wrong, because the dogs get this. This is really simple stuff to the dog, and that's what's going to get you the success. How clear can you provide that information to the dog? That's what matters. So I don't care what side of the fence you fall on in the training world. That's what it comes down to, okay? The problem with purely positive trainers is you just can't survive on positive reinforcement alone. You can get away with it probably 95% of the time and be successful, but what do you do in that 5% of the time where that's not interesting to a dog anymore? It's just incomplete, you know? It's most of what I do. I posted a picture yesterday, I think, of the Malinois Shepherd mix with the 3 other dogs, and I explained that that big dog was trying to kill that little dog. They live in the same home, all 4 of those dogs. And I'm not talking about like just hearing, that dog wanted to kill that little dog. And so when I went down there to work with that dog, that Shepherd Malinois mix wasn't the problem. See, the 3 big dogs had rules. The little dog had no rules inside the home. the people treated that dog like a little dog instead of a dog, and that created a lot of problems because that little dog ran the household. And those other two dogs were okay with it. The Malinois Shepherd mix was not, and he didn't like it. And so he's saying, no, I'm going to run this household. And the problem is when the people don't, one of the dogs will. And then one of the other dogs don't like who's trying to run the show. That's where you get your disasters from, right? So someone asked me, what kind of punishment for that case did I use? Well, guess what? I didn't use any punishment. I didn't use anything, okay? There's a video on my YouTube channel. It's a really crummy video because I tried to do it myself. But here's the thing, this will catch some heat. So a lot of what I did with that dog, those dogs, were things that are utilized in the purely positive community, okay? A lot of balance trainers diminish its effective use of, let's say, bat or cat, right? It's garbage because it's from the purely positive community. It doesn't work. Well, I'm going to tell you from my perspective, it's very beneficial, very, very beneficial. And I utilize all those things that are only used in the purely positive world. I do a lot of other things too. I never do one thing to help a dog like that, or any dog, okay? So I utilized bat and cat, okay, in that situation a lot. And the one video that I have out there, that's what you see me doing. But I also had to have the owners change everything they did within their household. They had to change. That little dog had to be treated like a dog. And then I did the normal training that we do with all dogs. So never once did we set them up. Now in the video, you may see me, that dog may kind of do it. I may give a leash correction. So let me take that back where I say I didn't use any corrections. But when I say that, I know people are thinking, okay, when the dog showed any aggression, e-collar punishment, light them up with the e-collar. That's what I I have to be more clear. Because whenever I say anything that's not clear, some douchebag on one of their lives will point that out, But so let me be clear. There was nothing like that. Didn't have to. We sent very clear messages to the dog and we changed the way they saw things before. In my opinion, you can't punish a mindset behavior out of the dog. Meaning if the dog is scared to death of things, you can't punish that out of them. If the dog feels like it needs to kill another dog, you can't punish that out of them. That'll work maybe temporarily for a lot of dogs to avoid the discomfort, avoid the pain. But what happens when no one's around or they think that the opportunity to get to what they want is more valuable than the pain itself? It doesn't work long term, guys. That's why you don't see people showing dogs years later after you do this. I do. I've showed plenty. The key to getting those long-term results, it's simple, but it has to be clear for the dog, and we have to change the way they see things up here. So they can't just avoid committing the offense that you're trying to fix. They have to literally not care about doing it anymore, okay? So I'm a big eater. I get fat in the winter, and then I take it off for the summer, right? I barely see my penis in the winter. I got a permanent roof over it. And then come the summertime, I start taking it down and like, whoa, there it is. There's my friend, right? I know how to do that. But the thing is, if I say one day, all right, I'm not gonna eat the things I love anymore, and I'm driving by my favorite ice cream place every day and it's killing me, and I avoid it, I just drive by it, but like my mouth is watering and stuff, I don't fix the problem. I'm just avoiding going in there temporarily. Maybe day 1, day 2, day 3, maybe day 8, it works. Day 9 or 10, I'm gonna pull in there and get my ice cream. You understand what I'm saying? So I have to set myself up and prepare my body and my mind and avoid the things that get me wanting that stuff to where I actually don't want it when I drive by. That temptation isn't there. It may be a bad analogy, but I like to eat. I use food for a lot of analogies. It's the same thing with the dogs. You understand what I'm saying? And that negative reinforcement, guys, it really is very, very powerful. It really is. You pair it with the positive reinforcement, and it's tremendous. And that's what I talk about with the fearful dogs. It just does. Hey, Sergio, Kathy, Mary, Jody, it really does absolutely amazing things. Hey, Bill, how are you, pal? You know, and that's why Bart and Michael's system is so unbelievably effective. So everyone that goes through it and learns, it's like they just saw Jesus and they have this awakening because they've taken it even further and utilized the benefits of that over years and years and years of saying, okay, this works better than this, and just making it better and better. I'm doing it on a very, very simple, basic level, you know. But when I started changing to doing those kind of things, it did start with what I saw Bart doing and learned from Bart. And I became a student of everything he was doing. But the problem was, everyone just considers that for the working dog stuff. I didn't. I started utilizing it in the pet dog world, okay? And it does wonders because a dog is a dog. And for the pet dog people, if you're not training with working dog people, you're out of your mind. That's where you're gonna really learn. You're gonna be able to create some real magic, because if you understand the complexity of these really highly driven working dogs and you start learning on that end a little bit, then the pet dog stuff becomes very, very easy. You understand what I'm saying? Very, very easy, you know? And it's going to help you a great deal. It's going to help you a great deal. But if you look, there's too many people are doing the same thing and expecting something different. And it doesn't work that way, you know? You have to do something a little bit different. And for the people, I think, that are also, and again, this is some great trainers that I'm thinking of here. For the people that just turn to the e-collar at an end of a program to proof the things they taught, I think that's a mistake. I really do. I think you should be enhancing the things you taught much earlier in the program than just proofing the things at the end. Because a lot of people, the way they're proofing things is they're doing all the things they taught, all the obedience, and then when the dog doesn't comply what they learned, then the e-collar comes into play. You understand what I'm saying? And guess what? That's what they were doing 20 years ago. You have to move forward and advance from that, okay? Contrary to what some douchebags say out there today, training is better than it's ever been before because we have the science, right? The science thing I said I didn't want to talk about. We understand dogs better today, and we have great people out there sharing their knowledge. And the dogs are getting better, looking better, having more fun doing it with less conflict than ever before, right? Less conflict than ever before. Look at the working dogs. Look at any of the sport fields today. Look at the dogs today and look at them back in the 70s. Completely different picture. Because back then, everything was pretty harsh. Everything. So you weren't going to get a dog to boom, 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 boom with power back then because it was boom, boom, boom. And everything, you know, was about suppression, right? Everything. So we still have a long way to go. There's no doubt about it. And I really think we know very little about the capabilities of these animals. I think we've only touched the surface. I really do. I learn something constantly just from watching them. It's unbelievable to watch what they do and how they behave. You know, I worked with Patton today, and he's like, man, Terry McCormick, you bred like the perfect dog, man. He is just phenomenal. And so today, I showed you guys a video last week of me sitting watching my boy play basketball with Patton, and he struggled. He wants to chase the ball. So that German Shepherd whining and screeching and having a hard time settling in, you know. Then I showed him the very next day. It was much, much less. I didn't do anything to address that. I didn't punish that behavior. I spent the time teaching him away from that situation so he could better understand me when we get back into that situation. So today I went and sat out there and we watched him play, and he was able to relax like a normal dog. I actually filmed it, and I was going to post it, and I said, you know what, I got to stop posting all this shit because I think I'm posting too much. And what happens is people get really sick of this ugly mug, you know what I mean? But I was trying to tell people in the video, I didn't address it there. So if he has a problem laying in the driveway watching my boy play basketball, I'm going to work on that away from that situation. We're going to train, and I'm going to build up our communication system and the trust that he has in me to turn to me and believe me when I say, I don't like that, don't do it. And that doesn't come from kicking the dog's ass. So in that situation, a lot of people, we know a lot of people, when that dog started whining, they would have hammered the dog with a prong collar or an e-collar, and then he stops, and he's not doing it, and then people think it's fixed. It's not, guys. It's not fixed at all. Matter of fact, it's worse because it's still there and it's inside the dog, but he's scared to let it out. And eventually, they're just going to explode. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to get back to that connection with the animal. And there's so many just unbelievable people out there doing great work, really, really great work. And you have a lot of scumbags out there that are trying to make a name for themselves by taking others down. Look what happened to Christopher Upton. Christopher, you're a class act, buddy. World-class trainer and world-class man, and I'm so sorry what happened to you. Christopher Upton's one of the best bird dog trainers on the planet over in the UK. And someone that was a little jealous, just some piece of shit, had him lose all his YouTube videos. That's what kind of industry, those are the kind of people we're dealing with, I deal with it, we all deal with it. And when someone can't get attention from quality content and information, they're gonna go after people that get attention for putting out quality content and information. They can't do it on their own through positivity. You know what I mean? I had someone reach out to me yesterday. I won't say who, but I was absolutely shocked by the email I got and extremely impressed because it's someone that I haven't been kind to. I haven't been kind to. And the funny thing was, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, and not so much now, but I know I was definitely part of the problem for a while. I was speaking about too much negativity. Even though I didn't use names, it didn't matter. People knew who I was talking about. They knew what I was saying. And I've been thinking about that a lot and watching all the scumbags out there now that deal with me and other trainers. I realized I'm part of the problem. I can't do that. So it has to be more about helping as many people as possible. Even if you don't like someone, if they want help, you give it to them. And this person reached out to me yesterday, and I was shocked and really impressed. And I told him, you got nothing to apologize for. I do. I was wrong, and I wish I wouldn't have done it. But I found that I really, really impressed by their character to do that. Okay, I really was. And I told him I apologized because I had a lot to do with that. And he apologized, and I told him, I said, you don't have anything. You didn't do anything wrong to me. You didn't. You know what I mean? And it made me realize there has to be more of that. And I will not be that guy to bring negativity in this industry anymore. I just won't do it. It's too harmful, and I love it too much. I love it too much, and I've had so many phenomenal trainers give me unbelievable support. It allows me to do something that I absolutely love, and I don't take that lightly, Have all these seminars. Hey, Jackie, Ray, Martin, hey, Carol. Way to go. You're doing, yay. You know what I mean? I have more offers to do workshops right now than I could ever get to. And that's something I don't take lightly, I'm getting to do a soldier one with Nelson Hodges. Beautiful thing. Hopefully I could do the Scotland thing with Duke again. These are people I love working with. And this week we announced I'm going to be doing a workshop, actually probably a couple of workshops with Joel Silverman. Man, Joel's a great guy, great trainer, great dog man, great person. I used to watch him on TV for years, I loved his show. And when we met at the conference last year, he's exactly like he is on TV. And he's a really good guy. And I respect the hell out of him. So we're going to be doing some work together, and to have those kind of opportunities, I don't take it lightly, guys. So when you see someone going after me, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. They just want what I have. They want what you guys have given me, you know, and that's the truth. You guys could take it away tomorrow, and you guys have given it to me. And that upsets the people that don't have it. You understand what I'm saying? And they would think twice if they knew me a little better. That's for sure. That's all I'm going to say, you know. But a lot of cool people here. Hey, Dustin, Martin, you know. Hey, Josh. But it's really important, guys. So really try to understand how the dog sees the positive reinforcement when it comes after the negative reinforcement. So positive reinforcement is great, right? Sit, yes, down, yes. The dog learns, but do you have any idea how many repetitions it takes for a dog to truly learn those commands, those positions? More than you think. And that's why so many people struggle, whether they're trying to teach coming into a heel or whatever, you know, or the dog, oh yeah, he knows how to sit, but now he's not sitting. Guys, it takes a lot of repetitions. But when you add that negative reinforcement to those commands that the dog kind of knows, boom, 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 much faster, much faster. Give you an example. If you're working on the dog coming into a nice heel, right? It takes hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of repetitions for the dog to truly get that just through positive reinforcement. But if the dog has a good understanding of it, and the dog truly understands the language of the e-collar, like truly understands it, not in a punitive way, let me say that again, understands the low-level stimulation, now when that e-collar comes on, heel, and then you're still using a little luring, that learning process of the dog learning that position goes through the roof. Through the roof. Because now getting into that position is bettering its situation because you're utilizing the negative reinforcement with the positive reinforcement. And using both is 10 times better than using only one. Okay? So if you're using just negative reinforcement, you're going to get results. If you're using just positive reinforcement, you're going to get results. If you're using negative reinforcement with positive reinforcement, you're going to just make everything much better, much clearer, much faster. Okay? We need to give them that clarity. You understand what I'm saying? I'm doing this BeLive thing all by myself. Actually, I think the girls just pulled into the driveway. Sophia had a dance competition, and they had to leave yesterday. And so it's me and my boy here. We party like rock stars, man. And my little guy, he's so chill. He doesn't like to leave the house. So I got to just work dogs all day, you know, just one after the other, after the other. And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, man, I get to be at home and work these incredible animals, and people pay me for this. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd, you know. Did it for free for a really long time. And I loved it probably more than I do now. Did it for a long time for free. You know, learned. I had to learn more. And that's how I learned a lot of it. You know, you practice and practice and practice for free because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You don't charge people for that. You know what I mean? But hope that makes sense, guys. Any questions before I let you guys go? I said I was going to keep it short. It's 45 minutes already. Yeah, Lisi, totally. You know? Hey, Brian. Jody, Brian. I'm just looking at you guys, see if you have any questions. I finally got a place board or a condition. He's the place board. He is doing better with doing to place and staying until I release him, like no more than a few minutes since he's 8 months old. But when he has the zoomies, high energy, there is no staying on. Just be careful what you ask for, Jennifer, with an 8-month-old dog. Don't demand too much, especially through the e-collar. Continue to work and teach the dog. You know, I'm trying to work him through. I don't understand if that's in the home, outside the home, whatever. But at the same time, it is really important. You know, like with the dogs here, I will get them fired up and play with them and have it, and then ask for a down. You know, you have to start utilizing practice like that. without the distractions. Get them fired up, play with them, roughhouse with them, and then ask for a down, ask for a sit, and then play with them. You know what I mean? You have to be able to cap that drive. They have to be able to respond when they're fired up. So too many regular people, not trainers, practice a lot at home. And there's nothing around, and then when they're out in the real world and there's some distractions, the dog just falls apart. You have to prepare the dog for that. It's not fair not to. You know what I mean? It's known how to apply it without fucking up the dog. Yeah, absolutely, Keith. Keith says negative reinforcement is the #1 motivating reinforcer. It's knowing how to apply it without fucking up the dog that most people's problem. Yeah, no doubt, Keith. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Gwen. I'll try. I don't want to be a pain in the ass though. Thank you, Kim. Saying keep posting. Just put them up even if you think. You know what, Doc? It's easy to say that, and I did that for a while, and man, you get so much heat, and I know I shouldn't let it bother me, but I don't want to post stuff just to post stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm a real nerd with this stuff. So a lot of the things that I post, I get excited because I find it really beneficial for the average person, because I find it really beneficial for me, and I think if I find it beneficial, someone else is going to. That's just the way I see things. So some of the stuff that I get excited about isn't very exciting, and so the average person might look at it and go, what the hell, this is boring. Nothing sexy about it. But the important things, in my opinion, aren't really sexy. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Joel, what's going on, buddy? I'm just talking about you. Just talking about you, my friend. What's up, Nick? Well, yeah, we definitely got to meet up soon, Nick. You're not that far now. I'd love to meet up with you and Justin Rigney out there and just hang out and drink beer and do meathead things a little bit. I think it'd be a good time. I think you guys are close together now. You understand what I'm saying? Ryan, Patton's breeder is Terry McCormick up in Massachusetts. And I can't say enough about this dog. I picked Terry. I had a very special client, okay, a high-profile client that, let me tell you this story because this almost didn't seem real. So I have a really high-profile client, that I adore. I think they're awesome. And they were losing one of their dogs, a shepherd, and they said to me, hey, can you find us a black German Shepherd puppy? I said, yeah, let me see what I could do. And the first person I thought of was Terry, because I know Terry breeds really stable dogs. And I'm going to be training that dog to be a personal protection dog. And the first thing that I need is stability. I want a very stable dog, not one of these lunatics, because the personal protection stuff, I don't do all the crazy suit stuff and sleeve stuff and boogie man. So I needed stability. And when I texted Terry, I asked him, hey, you happened to know of I'm looking for a black puppy. And when I finally talked to him, he didn't respond later. He's like, man, I thought you had like some Homeland Security hidden camera on me or something. His dog, his black shepherd, was literally delivering the first puppy when I texted him, a whole black litter. So it was like mind blowing. So I told my clients that, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, they're gonna think I'm full of shit, Hi, babe. Did you get me wine? My wife brought home wine for her, none for me. She ain't getting to treat this body like an amusement park tonight, let me tell you. Yeah, so I said, Terry, I need a black, and I told my clients this, and I'm thinking, they're going to think I'm full of shit, So I literally had to send them a picture of the picture he sent me of his dog giving birth. And so we got a puppy, and you guys have seen Patton. I cannot ask for a better dog, let me tell you. And he's doing another breeding. I think the dogs, he said, will be ready in June. And I don't want another dog, but I'm really tempted because he's that good. Like, he's everything. He has everything I could ask for. Incredibly social and stable. I could let my kids work with him, and they could take care of him when I'm gone. And his drive. Hi, Sophia.
Hi.
Come give me a kiss, babe.
Why are you filming?
I'm doing a live.
Then why are you filming it?
Oh, because that'll be for YouTube. I can't post to YouTube from this app, I don't think. Hi, baby.
You can.
Well, I don't know how. Come give me a kiss. You seem so tired, huh? Love you, Mama. Mwah. It's my girl. She was gone all day. I miss her. So yes, phenomenal dogs, Terry McCormick. I mean, I can't say enough about this dog. He's really tremendous.
Did you?
What?
Did you change?
Yes, I changed that. I changed the title by myself.
Gosh,
I'm a big boy now. Look at me. I did it all by myself. Yeah, I'm getting better, guys. And that's the thing, guys. When I find something that is great, when I find someone that's doing great things, I'm going to share it and talk about it. I think it's important. You know, I think it's important. That's why on my last live, I was talking about the chameleon e-collars. This stuff is crazy. This is changing, you know, the world of e-collars. I mean, this stuff is just phenomenal. What Bart and Michael have done with Martin Systems, just unbelievable. You know, the technology is insane. But again, making it better for the dogs. Making it better for the dogs, you know? I mean, look how low profile this thing is. So I have clients buy them. I don't try to sell them to clients. I don't promote them. You know what I mean? My clients still use e-collar technologies, and it's a great e-collar, you know? But these are a lot of money. But I have clients ordering them now because they love how low profile they are, and it fits flat to the dog's neck. So when they're out with their dogs, no one says, hey, is that a shock collar on your dog? Average people don't want to hear that. No one, that just looks like a regular collar, you know? And so when I come across people doing great things, I'm going to share it. And Terry's doing a phenomenal things in the breeding world. His shepherds are incredible. I talk about John and Paul at Mohawk Malinois because Luca and Mango are unbelievable dogs. I couldn't ask for better. You know, they've bred really great dogs, and they're my friends, and they've been really good to me. You know, and it's important to me to give back. And so if I can help anyone in any way that needs a boost, for some reason, I don't know why people follow me, but when someone's doing good things, I'm going to talk about it and share it because I want everyone to do well. I really do. If you're doing good work in the training world or the breeding world or your products, I'm going to try to help. And I think everyone has to do that and support each other. If you're doing good, support each other, folks. You understand what I'm saying? But that's where Patton came from. And he's just unbelievable, man. He's one hell of a dog, you know, one hell of a dog. I have to ask Terry something too. I had heard, someone told me once that black German Shepherds don't shed as bad as all the other ones. And I just figured it was a myth. But I got to tell you, Patton doesn't shed much. And I have to ask Terry, if you see this, you have to tell me, is there any truth to that? Because he just does not shed like any other of the shepherds. He barely sheds while he's here, and it's kind of crazy. Larry, we are so grateful for you. Could you please give an example of negative reinforcement? Hey, Nicole. Yeah, I did. Maybe you just came in, okay? So, I don't know. Did you just come in and not see examples of negative reinforcement, Nicole? Okay? All right, I'll do it again real quick. If we're using leash pressure, okay? If you have a dog at the end of the leash and you're applying pressure for the dog to come to you and it's fighting it, the second that dog gives into that pressure, that's negative reinforcement. Okay, you're removing something, you're removing that tension. With the e-collar, it's no different. When that e-collar comes on before the command, the continuous button is held and we say come, when the dog turns to come to us, we remove that pressure from the e-collar. We're removing it, okay? That's negative reinforcement. And then we follow it up with positive. It's really simple. Don't overthink it, you know? I'm a simple guy. I'm a very simple, basic guy, and I'm not gonna try to get all fancy with things. And when I deal with clients, guys, I keep it simple. One thing I can say I've gotten really good at over the years is getting clients to understand how to not only maintain the results, but keep getting better. And the only way that works is if you keep it so clear and simple for people, it's easy for them to maintain at home. That's it. I ask for 5 minutes twice a day when it comes to the obedience, but I ask for 24 hours a day inside the home when it comes with the behavior. Okay? It's not asking for a lot. And when it comes to the 24 hours a day, you're already doing something. I'm just asking you to, do something different. Someone asked me a great question this morning. Great question. They said, when you do a board and train, if there was only one thing that you can implement, what do you think makes the biggest change in the dog's behavior? That was a great question, and I can tell you what it is, and I've done the experiment before, and I've talked about that. The biggest thing that makes the biggest change in these dogs when they come here is removing the dog from the bad habits and implementing good habits, okay? So anyone who's never heard me talk about that, I did an experiment with several dogs over several months. I did board and trains with aggression issues. And I didn't charge people. So for the douchebag that says that I took people's dogs for board and trains and charged them and didn't do anything, scumbag liars. I hate liars. That's one thing I have no patience for. So I didn't charge them because I wanted to see something, and I had a really strong belief that this would work, but I didn't do any training. The only thing I did was interact with the dogs normally, okay? The only thing I did was go on long walks. That was it, nothing else. Every single dog, 100% of the dogs, got rid of their behavioral problems when they were here, because I took them out of a situation that created those problems, and I implemented good habits and took them out of their bad habits. And the structured walk sends a very clear signal to the dog, okay? When you take that leash, they know if you're full of shit or not. And they know their job's to follow you, and they believe in you, they trust you, and they respect you. And that allows them to get rid of all that baggage. So all the obedience and all that stuff, it's great. It's just dessert. It's icing on the cake. Okay, so if there was just one thing, it's taking the dogs out of the bad habits that created the problems and showing them the right way through implementing good habits. I thought that was a great question, guys. It really is. And that's it. We're at about an hour, and stop barking. Linda, my dogs don't bark at each other when they're here. They don't do it. They don't do it. I don't have any issues with barking while dogs are here. Linda asked, how do you handle the 1-year-old shepherds stop barking at each other while in the separate kennels? I just don't have that problem here. Dogs don't do it, But again, that goes back to me controlling everything while they're here. They get everything through me, okay? There isn't just opening the pens and letting them run around the fence yard. Everything goes through me. They look to me for everything. And I don't deal with that barking at it. They just don't do it. Now, if I get a dog here that every now and then you'll get one that in the middle of the night will start barking, not at the other dogs, just at something outside, or some dogs just do that at home. And what I found is, even though I'm very anti vibrator collar only, right? For that, if the dog's already trained on the e-collar, you can't keep an e-collar on the dog all night long. It's not fair. It's not cool. You can't let it wear it that long. Probably could with the wing contacts and everything, but I don't. And so I'll put the vibration collar on. There's no contact points, and I take the remote to bed with me if the dog is doing that all the time. And if it gives one little bark, a little tap from the vibration collar, and I never usually have to do it more than once, so they could wear it through the night. Incredibly effective. So that's one thing that those tone-only collars, the vibration collars, only work fantastic, really fantastic. But we're at an hour, guys, and Jennifer, that is my issue, doing training around distractions. Once our Indiana weather gets better, it'll be easier to take him places around distractions. Listen, here's the thing. My garage is 60 by 25. I have a really big garage, and it's heated and cooled, okay? You may have seen me training in there on videos probably 3 times. I just never do it. I don't care how cold it is out, how hot. I like to be outside. I just think it's more natural for the dog. And if it's cold, I'm going to just dress warmer. If it's hot, I'm never going to, the extreme heat is the only time I won't work a dog in it. I'll just wait till it's cooler. And that's why it's not rare for me to be outside at midnight, 1 in the morning sometimes, training a dog. And I love it, especially in the bad weather. I love it, but I think I love it so much because the dogs seem to love it. Try it. Go outside 1 in the morning with a dog. Go out and just work the dog. It's quiet, there's no one around, and it's just you and the dog. And it's pretty incredible. I can't explain it, but that's just me. So even though I have a big training space, I have a good place to train, and it's heated and cool, I really rarely use it. I like being outside in the elements. I don't give a damn how cold it is. I'm going to be out there. I like it. I won't be out in the pouring rain, you know. I won't train out in the pouring rain. I hate friggin' rain. If it's raining a little bit, I don't mind. But pouring rain, then we'll train inside, you know. Okay, guys, but I really wanted to talk about that. The power of negative reinforcement paired with positive reinforcement. Please give it a shot, you know. And if you guys, I'm not going to say anything else, you know. I'll let you guys go. Thanks for joining in, folks. I always appreciate it, okay? Have a great weekend. I'm craving some red wine. My wife didn't call. Well, she couldn't call. My phone's on do not disturb thing, so damn it. All right. Have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you all soon.